Hey guys, this is Carrie, and in this video we're going to be looking at using CSS to style a web page. So we're starting off with a pretty plain web page. We've got just a sort of about me with some random words as the text. All right, so to add style, what we're going to do is you go into the head of the document, and you're going to be creating a tag which looks like this, style, and then press tab. Now, what this means is the text inside of these two tags, the inner HTML, is not going to be interpreted as HTML. It's actually going to be interpreted using a different programming language called CSS. So the way CSS looks, and we're going to give ourselves some room here because we're going to add a lot of styles. The goal is to make something like this, basically, out of our About Me page. So the way that CSS works is you have to tell it what kind of element you're selecting. So for example, I can say, take all of the paragraphs, all of the P elements on this page, and give them the following list of styles. Now I'm going to zoom in because I really want you to see this. This is called a CSS Selector, and we're selecting all of the paragraph elements, and then we use curly parentheses or curly braces to list out all the styles that we'd like to give our paragraphs. So one thing we can do is we can say, for the color of the paragraphs, make them blue. All right, now we've got blue paragraphs. For the background, and I'm going to show you a couple of options for background, I think, in this video, make the background yellow. Cool. So now all the paragraphs in just a couple lines of code have identical style. And this is actually a feature of the language because if you think about a web page, there's usually a homogeneous sort of same style quality to how the website is designed. So I want to give you guys a couple more pieces of vocabulary. So we've got our CSS selector, the P tag. We've got our CSS property, and we've got our value for that property, which is blue. So property, value, selector. And you can list out as many of these as you want inside of this tag. Or inside of this, not this tag, these curly braces. So let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to show you guys about this. Oh, here's a cool one. For border, actually, you need to list out a couple of different things. So first off, how many pixels wide do you want that border to be? 2 pixels, maybe. Let's say the color of the border is red, and then the quality of the border, or the design of the border, you can do solid. Another option that you might choose to do is dashed. I don't know why it keeps wanting me to change the language. All right, so dashed is an option, or dotted. And you could really beef that up by doing 5 pixels here. But I like solid the best, so I'm going to stick with solid. All right, so now we've got a lot of style on this paragraph. Some more style that you might want to add might have to do with the spacing of the words or the letters. So you can do line height, and everything we're going to be doing in this video is measured in pixels. There's a variety of other units that work too. So we could do 20 pixels of their line height. Let's see what that does. Oh, it didn't do anything. It's a bad choice. So let me try 30 pixels instead. So 30 pixels is going to space out the words a little bit more. And then we can actually do letter spacing if you want to space out the letters. So letter spacing, I don't know, 5 pixels. Save it and refresh it. And now we've got the letters very spaced out, maybe a little less, 2 pixels, depending on how you want your page to look. I'm just trying to show you a variety of different properties and values so that you can get started styling on your own. All right, next up, you can actually select another element to style. So let's select the H1. And let's do some new things there, and some old things, I guess. Let's make the color of it, I don't know, purple. Save it, refresh it. So now you've got a purple H1. That's the only one that changed because this was our only H1 on the page. Next up, a nice thing you could do with the header is to text align, center it. And now we've got our header centered. Another cool thing you might want to do with this is like a text decoration. And so there's a couple of these that are interesting. We've got underline, kind of a classic look for a title. But we also have overline as a possibility. And now we've got our overline text decoration. I'm going to talk a lot more about font in a future video. But I guess one thing you might want to do in this video is font size. And you could change the font size itself to something very large, like 50 pixels. And now you've got a big header one on your web page. All right, so let's see. Let's suppose we want to change this one right here, all about random words. You could look through your code and you can see what selector do I need to use to target that element. Okay, well I need to use an H2. So H2, and then I'm going to do curly braces and list out all the styles. I want to center it, so text align, center. This one I want to underline, so text decoration. text decoration. And the autocompletes are super nice here. Underline. I hope that you have them on your computer when you do this, and maybe we'll space out the letters. So again, if you forget these things, it's a quick Google search, how to space out letters with CSS. And oh, hey, we used some good words here. Letter spacing is the property. And even if you forget this, let's see. Okay, they're using different units, but it looks like letter spacing and then a value with the units attached. So letter spacing, and I'm going to do 3 pixels, and then every property value pair ends with a semicolon in CSS. So save it, refresh it, and now you've got that. All right, so there's a couple of more things that I'd like to show you in this video. One thing that's really nice now that we've got our head and our body set up is we can actually style the entire body. So let me show you what I mean by that. What if we wanted to put a background behind all of this text? Well, then the selector that we're going to use is the body selector. So select the body, and let's do a background that's pink. Save it and refresh it. All right, so we're seeing a very limited version of the colors that are accessible to us in CSS, but I have a separate lesson prepared where we look at all the different ways that colors can be specified. For now, you've got these color keywords: red, yellow, blue, pink, purple, green, and there's a bunch of other ones that you can look up. Maybe gold here, just to show you. Yeah, gold is a little different than yellow. It's actually a lot better looking, the gold. Okay, but there's some more interesting things you could do with the background. So you can actually make the background into a URL. And what you need to do then is you need to actually find an image to make your background. So let me see, clouds. So maybe this would make a good background for my web page, or this. So let me click this one, open image in new tab, and then, oh, I clicked the wrong one. Remember, it's open image in new tab, not open link in new tab. Copy the URL for the image and put that as the background URL. So now we save it and we refresh it, and now that's the background of our entire web page. You can actually see that this background is repeating. So something you might want to do here is, got to make sure the indentation matches. So I'm going to tab it over, background repeats, no repeats. Save it, refresh it, and now you've got just one of them. That doesn't really look how I want it to look though, so I'm going to delete that line of code and let it tile. There's a variety of other options, and again, using a Google search, you could probably figure out exactly what you want to do with CSS. Let's see. Let's do one more version of this background thing. So I'm going to delete this background. The last possibility for a background that I'd like to show you is something called a linear gradient. So if you set up background like this, instead of doing a single color or an image like we did before, you can actually say, make the background a linear gradient. And then you could say, you have to give this 3 values. So you have to give it the angle of the gradient. So I'm going to start with 30 degrees, red, and blue. And I know you guys have no idea what's about to happen, but I'll give it a save and a refresh, and you get a really nice effect here. So just understanding what these values mean, it starts off at red, it transitions to blue, going through a gradient of colors in between, and the angle of that evolution is 30 degrees. So you could play around with this number and switch it up. So 180 degrees, red to blue, like that. Maybe 90 degrees would be interesting. Yeah, you got that. All right, I'm gonna go back to 180 because I thought that was the best. All right, so let's see. Is there anything else that I'd like to show you how to do in this video? Just looking through my cheat sheet that I did before. All right, well, I think that's enough for this video, and hopefully it gets you started with some styles. The most important thing you walk out of this video understanding, though, is in order to style, you have to set up these style tags, and those go in the head of your HTML web page. Then what you're going to do is you're going to select a variety of different elements. Select all the paragraphs and give them these qualities. Select all the header ones and give them these qualities. And the way that the vocabulary works is, this is our selector, property, value, semicolon, property, value, semicolon, property, value, semicolon. And the indentation here, you can see very easily that all this is inside the style tag. They all have the same formatting. There is no random spacing like this that makes it hard to read, nothing like that. So just keep yourself organized and it'll make your code easy to edit and write in the first place. All right, hope you guys enjoy this video. See you in class.